Okay.
People didn't, they knew about Sayulita, but not like San Blas. It was not a major destination by any means.
And that was in 93.
That was actually 96.
96,
Yeah, 96.
Odette Gordon, who loves living and surfing in Sayulita, agrees with the latter. Originally from Canada, she's been living in Sayulita for the past 17 years with her husband Eric, with whom together they founded the turtle camp of Sayulita 7 years ago. Their aim was to regain populations of endangered sea turtles, which almost became extinct from the area in the late 90s due to egg poachers and long-line fishing, by saving the nests.
The whole point of this is to educate and not be necessary. So hopefully, like in 10 years, this won't be here. Yeah, the people really quickly got on that. We were astounded. And then that first hatch, I remember I was standing there, and they like to hatch during the day here, unfortunately, which is not a good time, because if they go, the birds will come, and just a lot of things will come and eat them. And I was standing there watching the surf. It's 10 in the morning, and the sand started moving, and I'm just like a group effort. They just kind of, and it was really easy to find other people in the community. Usually they're fishermen. There's a lot of surfers. There were a lot of people already that wanted to put turtle nests somewhere, but they were just lacking a place, a safe place to put them. So that's why. Yeah, and again, you know, that desire was there with a bunch of them. Like I've met fishermen and hunters here that are like the fellow that trims our cocoa trees and builds all of our fences, and he's a real cowboy. You know? Sit in the jungle at a watering spot and watch. It just sit there quietly and still and watch as snakes come and drink water. What we do, I think, as foreigners, or what we could do or should do maybe, is empower the right thing. So there's a lot of space for growth here, and people are so technically savvy and creative and awesome, and yet they still have this grounding of the wonderful roots they have here in the culture.
True to their goal of involving the local society, the turtle camp is actually run by a Mexican marine biologist from the state of Nayarit, Alejandra, and is volunteer run mostly by kids from the local area.
Yeah, I love the unconditional love, what I get from the turtle kids. There's just
So involving the locals in their everyday business is very important to them. Even their wedding in '98 was a very Mexican affair, with 800 people attending, all making them do rituals in order to become married the Mexican way.
And so he's running away with a cigar in his mouth, the baby in his hands, trying not to trip without his, boots on or whatever. And I'm chasing behind him with the belt, whipping his butt, like, how dare you run away with my kid? And he had like the chicken lady come and make 30 dusty chickens. The taco man came and made 1,000 tacos. And that's Don Pedro, by the way, that I'm talking about. Rest his soul. The people here are really awesome, and they'll give you the shirts off their back if you need it, or if you've got to be careful sometimes when you're like complimenting people, because they'll give you what it is that you're complimenting. I'm like, oh.
Environmentally, she acknowledges the damages tourism has made.
I mean, like Punta Sayulita, that was hard to watch that get developed. I mean, that whole point of land out there, that was just virgin, nothing there, nobody living there. Now they're building houses, and actually to get to the point, this has been going on for about 5 years now. I believe it's a Hawaiian development company that came in. I think they have Mexican partners now, but they were going to be environmentally friendly and be off the grid and no cars and stuff. Well, that changed, and all of a sudden they started dynamiting the point, and like Eric would say, yeah, it must be organic dynamite or something that they're using, right? Because it's supposed to be environmental. It's a big pelican rookery over there. a lot of wildlife and stuff. It was hard to watch that get disrupted. I mean, do we really need more rooms? So now they have big wide roads, and it's going to be a gated community. The lots start at 2.2 million, so it's high end, trying to sell this like nice life here, but it's not really how it is here in Sayulita, although we do have fancy places. I mean, I'm surrounded by them, because it's just not, it's not for everybody, you know. And that's
I suggested perhaps money might not speak as loud as the desire to keep the small town vibe in the future, to which she replied,
mellowed out. We stopped with the craziness, and there's definitely, you know, things are happening again. We're seeing things built. You can't really stop progress. But I sometimes feel that humans, we don't realize how ant-like we are. I mean, I think we just kind of colonize and take and take and take, and then all of a sudden look around and go, oh, we cut all the trees down. So yeah, people should be a little bit more grateful, and like I said earlier, just enjoy living here, because that is the payoff. It's not getting rich, it's not being exploitive of the area, it's living here.
Okay, I'm Susana Valadez. I'm the owner of Galeria Tanana here in Sayulita. We've had the gallery for around 10 years.
How did you originally connect with the Huichols?
Oh, well, that's a whole other story.
Susanna was one of the first non-locals to come to Sayulita in the 1980s to promote the sales of Huichol art, which she did through her non-for-profit gallery. In 1975, on a 2-week trip for her anthropology degree at UCLA, she intended to visit the Huichols in their mountain village of Huejía el Alto. 2 weeks turned into 40 years. She began helping the Huichol refine their skills and make high-quality art to sell to tourists, as an alternative to traveling to the town of Santiago Esquila with their families to earn a meager living, working in the tobacco fields and being poisoned by pesticides. She says helping them survive gave her life purpose and meaning.
When they were living undisturbed in their remote homeland, they were corn traders and they didn't need money, but the outside society has invaded them.
The tourists who buy the art allow the Huichols to maintain their heritage in a world where so many cultures are becoming extinct, and the much-needed lessons and traditional wisdom to flow into the modern world.
It's like a double-edged sword. You know, you want to see the people prosper. They have beautiful beaches here. It's great that local people here don't have to go up to El Norte to get a job to support their families. It's like the tourist industry has brought that money in, and there's, you know, if somebody's wants to do anything, if you have a poor mother with kids and, you know, she's not making it, all she has to do is like buy a blender and sit out on the corner and make her chocolate shakes or sell orange juice or whatever. There's any industrious person here will find a way to support themselves and their family, but you know, they don't have their quiet little fishing village anymore. And people who had little shacks on the beach, you know, they sold their little shacks and the land around them for, you know, it could be millions of dollars. But I'm not sure that a lot of the people who got rich off of selling their land actually knew what to do with the money. You know, I think a lot of it was just spent, you know, buying beer and there wasn't a plan for these people so that they could really invest in something that would bring them prosperity and so that they could grow along with the tourists. The other observation I had is the reason people come to this town is to be in a quote-unquote little Mexican fishing village. And I think that, again, they shoot themselves in the foot they sell these beautiful beachfront properties and turn them into condos, on the street that I live, it used to be a little quiet little dirt road, and donkeys would walk by, and horses, and you really get that Mexican flavor. But a big condo called Pájaro de Fuego, it's like they built all the way up the huge side of a mountain. And I think the wildlife is affected too when they do the weddings here and they do the fireworks explosions. A lot of the birds have ceased to roost in the trees that they used to, and so there's a lot of ecological concerns too. And cost of living here is much more expensive for the local Mexicans too. When you go to the market here, it's not like going to your little rural market, in some town that doesn't have the tourists. And so everything the tourists used to come to this town for, it's kind of like is getting destroyed by people who don't have a plan.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think in the near future it's going to change so much that it won't have that original attraction, that original Mexican?
It's it's gonna come just homogenized with the Puerto Vallarta big hotel. See, the cultural diversity is really, the pendulum is swinging towards make a cool place for people to drink beer and get a suntan and go to the beach. And so some tourists are conscious of helping the town, and so that's a good thing. The school here is prospering. They have places. Yeah, but the primary schools, the Mexican schools, campaigns to clean up the beach. There was tourist campaigns to clean up the raw sewage that was going into the ocean. There's animal protection things here. So, in that sense, it's raising the consciousness. But it's going to take a little while for Mexican consciousness to merge with the other global consciousness. So it remains to be seen.
We shall see.
Yeah. Mexican town, the thing I always loved about Mexico is that behind every doorway there's something fantastic, some beautiful cultural scene that you couldn't have imagined that has the complete flavor of Mexico.
Conservation, where it was lost from the 60s to the 90s, is being brought back with education. So will development and progress eventually homogenize Sayulita, as is occurring globally in so many touristic destinations in the developing world? It remains to be seen.